I sent them an email originally asking about this lead that we got, saying that we had heard that citizenship ceremonies would be conducted over the internet. Well, they got back to me saying that they would get back to me as soon as possible. But in the subject line of their returned email, they changed it to virtual citizenship ceremony. Very specific words that I never used in my previous email. How concerned were you when it came to light that the federal government was allowing individuals to wear a niqab, a veil, while taking the oath of citizenship in Canada, while swearing allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and her successors, and finally becoming a Canadian after a very long process? They were allowed to hide who they were. They were allowed to hide their face behind a veil. That was concerning to many Canadians, thinking that it opened up the process to fraud and abuse. But it seems like that was only a stepping stone. A source deep within Citizenship and Immigration Canada has reached out to Rebel News with a very disturbing allegation. They tell us that phone calls between government officials in the Department of Citizenship and Immigration Canada have talked about a new normal with these very sacred citizenship ceremonies, saying that they would just take place online given the global pandemic, and it might last indefinitely. It might just be what happens. It might be how you become a Canadian. You apply online and you become a Canadian online. It's as easy as that to the Trudeau government. Now, if hiding your face was opening up this process to abuse, to fraud, this is going to do much, much worse. Now, we haven't been able to confirm this explicitly from the horse's mouth. We've reached out to the government both by filing an ATIP and by reaching out to the media department at Citizenship and Immigration Canada. Now, ATIPs take months to get back, if you ever even do get them back. Now, this email that I got from Citizenship and Immigration Canada confirmed our concern. I sent them an email originally asking about this lead that we got, saying that we had heard that citizenship ceremonies would be conducted over the internet. Well, they got back to me saying that they would get back to me as soon as possible. But in the subject line of their returned email, they changed it to virtual citizenship ceremony. Very specific words that I never used in my previous email, implying that this is something they have at least discussed. Now, the reason why we're sharing this story with you now as soon as possible, the day we actually received this email back, but before they could explicitly confirm that this is happening, the reasons are twofold. One, we are very confident in the veracity of our source from deep within Citizenship and Immigration Canada. And B, because the federal government has a bad history of leaking stories like this to friendly outlets to Justin Trudeau, like the CBC. Rosemary Barton will kick it into high gear when she realizes the Rebel News has this scoop. She'll release this on the National and massage all of your concerns and tell you why this is actually just a great idea. In-person citizenship ceremonies are so last year. They're so 2019. It's important that we have these online citizenship ceremonies. It's important that we get as many new Canadians in Canada as possible before the next election. Justin Trudeau needs them. Don't you know? We're sharing this story with you now with all the facts before they have confirmed or denied it, and we will update you when they do, either of those two. I sincerely hope that the federal government is not this eager to blindly throw away Canadian tradition, to eagerly bring in as many Canadians as possible before the next federal election, even if it opens up the process to fraud and abuse, just like it did when they allowed individuals to wear niqabs while taking the oath of citizenship. I predict that we will have a response tomorrow, and you can expect an update then. For Rebel News, I'm Keean Bexte. Thanks for checking out our coverage here at Rebel News. If you subscribe to us here on YouTube, be sure to ring that bell so that you get notified when the breaking news actually happens. And if you follow me on Twitter at @TheRealKeean, you'll see live updates there once the bureaucrats get back to me with this breaking story.